Hello, Internet. I am Kristen McFarland. I'm a fantasy writer and a general nerdy person, and I'm here for Searching for Superwomen. And we are going to talk today about playing Magic the Gathering Commander. So
But not Commando.
you
No.
can talk, well, you can do that, but probably not live on Google. Well, no, you can probably do that too. we're not going to stop you. So I'll let the men folk introduce themselves.
I'm Drew. I'm her husband, and I'm having stage fright. So over to you, Brian.
I'm very scared as well. I'm Brian. I am a fantasy writer. You might have seen me on Mage Tech, and I do write some comic book reviews for Searching for Superwomen every now and again. Uh, so,
All you know, man.
Yeah, you can tell us about Commander.
we'll do a little overview of how the Commander format works. So, in Magic, there's a whole bunch of different formats. Most of them are constructed 60-deck formats. There's Standard, Modern, Legacy, and those require you to build a deck of 60.
Oh my god, Brian, can you pause for a second? I think that the video is playing in my background.
Oh yeah, I do hear
It
something.
totally is. That was creepy.
Crystal.
Okay.
All right, sorry about that, Brian. We're back.
Okay, let's do that again.
So for the most of the other Magic formats, you build a 60-card deck, and you can have 4 of every card in that. And then you try to build, strategy based on getting one of those 4 cards that you need, and win basically. With Commander, you build a 100-card deck, and in Commander you can only have one of each card in that deck besides basic lands. So you can have as many like islands, forests, swamps, or whatever you want. But every other card in the deck you can only have one of. So the 100 cards consist of your Commander, which can be any legendary creature from the history of Magic cards. There's a ban list. There's some commanders that are banned because they're deemed unfair or unfun to play against, but I don't think there's more than like 10 of those. And there's probably over 100 legendary creatures throughout Magic, so you basically can pick almost any of them. So your first card is your Commander, and then the rest of your deck is 99 cards. The cards in your deck can only be the color, can only have the mana symbols in them that are in the casting cost of your Commander. So for example, my Commander is, you see this?
A little bit higher.
There we go, now we can see her.
Is blue-black. So all the cards in the deck, in my Commander deck, I have only blue and black mana symbols in them. That counts for the mana cost, and also inside the text box, if there's like a red in here, can't play it. So the only mana symbols that can be anywhere in the card are the ones that are in the casting cost of your Commander.
Awesome.
So basically you want to build your Commander deck. Well, a little more history about the format. It was originally created by a bunch of Magic players that I think they just decided they wanted to try a different way of playing Magic besides the regular constructed formats. It was originally called Elder Dragon Highlander, based on do you guys remember the old Elder Dragons from like way back in the day? Remember the Legends set from way back in the day? It came out like after Revised. So
The dragons were like one of the first legendaries, right? They were one of the first really.
Exactly. So there was like Chromium and Nicol Bolas and Arcadius Sabath, something like that.
Bolas was a planeswalker too, right? Or
Yeah,
something like
but
that.
originally he was one of these Elder Dragons, and so then the card type back then was Summon Elder Dragon Legend. So the format was originally named after these Elder Dragons, so it was called Elder Dragon Highlander or EDH. And in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, Wizards has actually decided to support the format, and every year they put out a Commander supplement pack. So usually pre-constructed Commander decks with old cards and then some new cards that are built specifically for Commander purposes. So they'll have stuff in them that will make you choose one of the other players that you're playing against, or there's ones that will, you put an enchantment on a creature, and that creature can only attack your other opponents and not you. So stuff like that that's built specifically for the Commander format. That's basically the.
So would you say that they kind of went with the idea with the Commander style is a little bit less of like in regular Magic, it sometimes seems like people load up their decks with sort of things so they can kind of have a small deck with 4 or something, kind of guarantee themselves to get it, and so they can develop these really complex strategies and cycles. Whereas with the Commander format, it seems a little bit more of going back to the tradition of I'm not sure what I'll get next, but it'll be something fun.
Yeah, exactly right. Since you can only have 1 of every card. I mean, you can still put in like tutor cards, like remember Demonic Tutor, they'll just search for something. You can still use those, but generally, yeah, the idea is that there's supposed to be an element of surprise to what your deck. You want to build a strategy into the deck to win eventually, but yeah, there is a lot more element of surprise and randomness, and it's more of a casual format too. It's supposed to be played for fun. They don't have, Wizard has sanctioned tournaments for the other formats where you win prizes and stuff. This is it's supposed to be played with your buddies and for fun. Some people build really hardcore decks that win on turn 5 or something if they can, which I think defeats the spirit of the game. But that's some people's prerogatives.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about building a deck?
All right, so.
Oh wait, I have a question first. He's all prepared, and I just pulled the rug out from under him.
I'm so flustered now.
It's because our 0 viewers are watching so carefully.
Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed.
Just think, historians in the future will find this video archive and judge you based on it.
This will be the definitive telling of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, we'll be the record, the historical record. Okay, is Commander generally 2-player or mini-player?
Both.
Playing at once.
So,
both. Okay.
And depending on, you can build your deck either. So when I said Wizards doesn't do sanctioned Commander tournaments, stores do. Well, they'll have you play 1-on-1 and they do a tournament style kind of thing, and then at the end the winner wins a box of cards, or whatever, a bunch of packs or something. Yeah. You can do it that way, or but I think generally most of the time, if you have more than one person around, you play it with a group of people, and it's basically every player for themselves, and fight each other. But depending on what way you want to play it, be it 1-on-1 or in a multiplayer format, will also change the way that you build your deck. So if you're looking to just go to the store, play 1-on-1 tournament, and try to just wreck everybody, just go through each individual player, you're going to want to build a deck that kills quick. If you're going to do it in multiplayer, you're probably going to want a more friendly deck that maybe has a deeper strategy that allows you to get more stuff onto the board, play bigger spells. One of the great things about Commander is that the games go for a long time, so you have the opportunity to play giant wacky spells that you never get an opportunity to play in the other formats because they just go too fast. In in regular standard play, nobody plays cards that are more than 5 casting costs because it's just the games don't go long enough for you to play an 8-mana giant stompy Dire Moose. So
Dire Moose.
Dire Moose. I think we skipped over it before, but why, Brian, do games go longer?
Well, because if you do it in multiplayer, it's just the fact that you have 5 people playing all at the same time, and it just takes a long time to go around the table and have everybody play. A lot of Commander decks play spells that will wipe out the whole board, so you basically have to restart. They'll play a Wrath of God type thing that kills all creatures, and you basically start from the beginning.
The more life thing?
More life thing.
More life.
Yeah,
right?
Well, exactly. Depending on how complicated the deck strategy is, sometimes it'll take a long time to build up what you want to do. So on Friday, that picture that I tweeted to you guys, I was playing with my buddy, and he put out this card called Nevermore, and that it comes into play and it says pick a card. That card can't be cast, and so he named my commander. The whole point of my commander deck is to get the commander out and kill through the commander. So that game lasted 2 hours while I was trying to stall to find something to get rid of the Nevermore that was keeping my commander at bay. And eventually I just couldn't do it. I basically went through half my deck, and he eventually killed me. I couldn't find enough stuff to keep myself alive while I was trying to get rid of his Nevermore.
Wow.
So it all depends on how many people are playing, what kind of decks you're playing. That will determine the length of the game. But we play with this whole we play Commander with the group of folks that we do drafting with, and those games will last like 3 or 4 hours because it's 6 people playing, and it just takes a long time to it's in a process. It's an elimination thing too. So the last person standing is the one who wins.
And so, so each player has, is it 41 life? Is that how many?
So, 40 life. Each player starts with 40 life. So you die either by taking 40 regular damage, or if you gain life, whatever, getting your regular life total knocked down to 0, or by taking 21 commander damage. That means if the commander hits you, if the opponent's commander hits you for 21 damage, regardless if you gain life or anything. So you got to keep your life totals counted on a separate one for regular damage and then a separate one for commander damage. There's no spells that there's regular spells that prevent damage, and they can prevent commander damage, but you can't once you get tagged with commander damage. That's it. You can't take it away. And so if you're playing on multiplayer, the commander damage only counts for the particular commander. So if the 3 of us are playing, and I attack Kristen with my commander, and it deals 5 damage to her, and then Drew, you attack her, and it deals 5 damage. That's 2 separate commander damages. It doesn't count as 10 towards killing her. It counts 5 each for each of our separate commanders.
So you do kind of need a piece of paper with you when you're playing, probably, if you're playing against more than one person.
Yeah, you do. You generally, if you're playing one-on-one, you can just use like 2 sets of die if you want to. You need 3 sets to count up to 40, but but yeah, generally, having a piece of paper is handy. Or have somebody be like the commander damage of recorder, and they're just the one person that
the secretary of this game.
Secretary of commander damage.
The minutes.
So let's go back to building a deck, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do something else.
So, like I said, you can only build your deck out of the colors that are in your commander. So the way I like to build a commander deck is to pick the commander and then build the deck around winning via the commander. Not necessarily just dealing commander damage to kill the person, but using the abilities of the commander to fuel the deck and make the deck work to eventually make you win. There's folks that will pick a commander just for the colors because they want to jam their deck full of all of the best spells in those particular colors, and oftentimes the commander will just not even be a factor in the game. I think that kind of defeats the spirit of the format. So I'm not a big fan of that strategy. But so basically, when I try to build a deck, I use it. Pick the commander first, and then build the deck around winning through the commander. So, for example, my commander that I'm currently playing is Widwind the Biting Gale. It's a 3/3 flash and flying, and you can pay.
Can you hold it a little to your other side?
There you go.
Is there a glare?
A little more to the other side. A little more to the other side.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Let's see if I can remember this off the top of my head.
So flash flying, and pay 1 life, return Biting Gale to its owner's hand.
Yep. For 2 colorless and 1 black and 1 blue. So flash, you guys know what flying is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So flash, you know what flash is?
You can play it as an instant at any time, right?
Right, exactly. So the basic strategy here is to find the most opportune time to flash in the commander at the end of one of your opponent's turns, and then keep open the 2 mana needed to make sure that she doesn't get killed. So it basically try to keep her alive as best you can, and then just have her fly over your opponent's other creatures and kill. That's the basic premise of the deck. So to do that, I've put in a bunch of different kinds of cards that allow you to control the game state so that you have a safe place to cast her and then protect her after she's cast. So I've put in a lot of kill spells. See that?
A little bit higher. There you go. Perfect.
Go for the
throw.
1 black, 1 colorless. Destroy any non-artifact creature. Basically kills any opposing commanders. Kills a ton of regular creatures. Not a lot of people use colorless. There's not a lot of colorless legendary creatures, so people generally don't use artifact creatures as their commanders. And if you do, you're stuck only using colorless spells. So that shuts you off to like everything.
Is there anybody besides just the Golem guy?
Yeah, there's a Karn. Has an old legendary creature card.
That's the Golem, right? The Karn.
There's Karn. There's Bosch, I think, is a golem.
Okay. No, I'm
there's
thinking Karn is the Golem. I remember that from the books.
Yeah, he has a planeswalker now too, but originally he was a legendary creature back in the day.
Yeah, Urza's day.
Yeah, way back in the day. So yeah, there's not a lot of legendary artifact creatures, but that's a deck if you're gonna go with that, you really have to like play a very specific kind of deck because you're really hamstrung. So a lot of kill spells in this deck. A lot of cards like Rainstorm that allow you to dig through the library and find stuff that will allow you to keep the commander safe. So you can draw with this. You can cast it whenever you want. It's an instant. You draw 3 cards, find whatever you need to survive for that particular turn, hopefully, and then you just put the rest back for later. A lot of cantrips that allow you to draw cards, but do like another thing too. So this lets you draw a card, and it lets you look at your opponent's hand too, so you can get an idea of what they've got and what you need to hold on to protect your board. Bounce spells, stuff that sends your opponent's junk back to their hand. So this is an awesome card. You can cast it for 2 mana just to send 1 permanent back to their hand, or if you hold on to it for a while, you can cast it for 7 and send everything that your opponents control back to their hands. So if you have like a huge, your opponents build up a huge army of creatures, and they come and swing at you with it, send this out, send them all back to their hand, and they're basically back to step 1. Counter spells. Put a bunch of counter spells in there too that allow you to. You can counter their commander. You can counter any kind of nasty thing that's going to target your commander. This one is particularly nasty because if you counter their commander, it'll tuck them into their library instead of putting it back in the command zone, so they don't have access to it.
So, would you say that you chose cards that were lower in cost generally, or do you have a mix?
So, in mana cost or in price cost? Yeah, generally.
Mana cost.
Yeah, generally for this deck, yeah, because you want cheap stuff that you don't have to commit a lot of resources to. Because you always want, when you have Wide One out, you want to be able to have the 2 mana open to send her back to your hand if something gets through, she gets tagged with, and then if for whatever reason you need to have 2 counter spells or 2 kill spells to throw out, you want to have enough mana open for that too. And so the games still go long, because you might have like 8 land cards out, and that'll allow you to do 2 or 3 different spells whenever you need it to stay alive. And then the last thing is there's a few pieces of equipment in here, so that it will power her up for like the kill. So this gives their +X+0 and first strike for all of these instant sorcery cards that are in your graveyard. So this deck plays a whole ton of instant sorcery cards. So you put that on her and it can be like a +12, and you can just swing through and kill in a couple of turns. And that's basically the whole deck, is those kind of, basically some variation of those like 5 cards to control the whole board and then eventually swing in for the kill. And I've only played this deck one-on-one, and it's really nasty one-on-one. And next time we get together with a group of guys that we draft with, I'm gonna try it out in the in a multiplayer format and see how it does. So there's cards that will allow you to send back a whole bunch of different creatures. There's I got some spells in there that'll let you drain life from all your opponents to kind of stay alive if you're getting beat down. So I'm hoping that those kind of things will allow it to work well in a multiplayer format too.
What percentage of land would you say you have in your deck?
I think I have 37, 38 land. I think that's pretty much where you want to be. There's also put in people. Generally, you want to put a bunch of mana rocks in your commander decks too to help you get the colors that you need to for the spells you want to cast. So here's a good example of that: Chromantic Lantern. This it's an artifact that costs three colorless mana, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and it also lets all of your other lands tap for any color too. So that's pretty awesome. There's other ones that are kind of like that that'll just give you the colors of your commander's identity. So you can throw a few of those in there. So those are helpful for you to kind of get ahead. Soul Ring is a good one. It only costs 1 mana, and you can tap it for 2 colorless mana. That can help you
Nice.
speed up your casting. So that's, I mean.
Let me ask you this question. So what's your feeling on 2-color commanders versus 3-color commanders?
It's harder to get the right mana. I mean, if you put enough different kinds of lands and stuff in it, it'll be fine. If you put in enough of like the mana rocks to let you get any kind of mana, it'll be okay. It's a little bit harder to get all those colors. I don't think I've ever played one with 3 colors. I think all the ones that I've played in the past were 2 colors. But the new set that just came out, there's a bunch of 3-colored legends. I think I'm going to build a deck out of one of those. There's a red, white, and blue one. That looks pretty sweet. I'm going to give that a try. Yeah, there's so many options for you to fix whatever mana you need that I don't think it's a big deal. Some people play 5-color. There's 5-color legends that people play, and it's more expensive.
I think that smacks of indecisiveness.
I think that's generally people who just want to play all the best spells out of all the colors, and then they just grab somebody that's 5 colors. Like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
I can do it all.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
I mean that's saying that we can show you the commanders we've picked if you like.
Yes.
So did I interrupt you in the middle of something?
No, I was just gonna say that.
Okay.
That's my command. That's my theory on deck building right there in a nutshell. Yeah, let's see what you guys have.
All right. So I went with one from the 2011 set. So I went with their Dionysus guy, Xenagos, God of Rebels.
Oh yeah.
Let me know if he's anywhere close to being visible.
Looks like it from here. Maybe lift it up a little.
Oh. Yeah. my buddy that I played against on Friday, he played a deck with him.
Cool. So
He's
he's red-green, and as a god, he's indestructible. And at the beginning of combat on my turn, another target creature you control gains haste and gets +X until end of turn, where X is that creature's power, so I guess it's basically kind of doubling him. And then this one I don't understand too much, but I imagine in play we figure it out. As long as your devotion to red-green is less than 7, Xenagos isn't a creature. So, as I understand it, that means basically if the sum of my dots for everything, and does it also include my land? Is that okay? So it's only the sum of the dots of my creatures and spells and stuff.
Yeah, all of your non-land permanents. So any creatures, enchantments, artifact. There's some colored artifacts, planeswalkers, anything that's not a land that has like those colors in the mana cost.
I'm assuming that's the sum of red and green dots then, not just 7 of one or 7 of the other.
Right.
And then what it means when it says it isn't a creature, that means that can he still do the bonus where he can give things haste as long as he's in play?
So when he comes into play and you don't have your devotion all the way up, he's just an enchantment. He's still indestructible and he still does the +X deal, but he's not a creature, so he himself can't attack, and your opponent can't kill him with stuff that kills creatures. But he's indestructible anyway, so it's a tough dude to kill. He's awesome.
Gotcha. So with him, can you tell me? So when you play Commander, he starts off in the Commander's zone, right?
I can't hear. I think you're too close.
Oh, sorry. So when we're playing Commander, he starts off in the Commander zone.
Yes.
Does that mean that I can use his abilities already, or can I not use his abilities until I pay the cost and he gets onto the board, basically?
Yeah. You can't use any of his stuff until you put him into play. There's a couple of commanders that came out in the last couple of years that have abilities that can be used in the command zone, but it says specifically on the card, such and such does such and such while in the command zone.
So those are basically cards that, if they don't have the word command zone on it, don't worry about it.
Yeah, anything else you can't do unless they're actually on the battlefield.
Okay, that was a point I couldn't figure out from the rules, so thank you for explaining it.
You're welcome.
Over to you.
Okay.
Well, let me just say something about the command zone. So after your guy if your commander is out on the battlefield, gets killed, exiled, countered before they even come in, it goes back into the command zone. I think you can put it in your graveyard. If it gets regularly killed, you can put it in the graveyard or the command zone. But generally, you want to put it in the command zone unless you have spells that can pull stuff out of the graveyard. But normally, you just want to put it back in the command zone. If you want to cast it again after it's been sent back to the command zone, you got to pay 2 extra colorless mana for every time it was sent back to the command zone.
Okay, that explains why you might want an inexpensive commander.
Right, or have spells like he has that allow you to skip that whole process and just bring them back.
Yeah. So if you have spells that'll send it back to your hand, it'll just go back to your hand, and then you won't have to pay the commander tax to put it back out. So, but if you get your thing killed, 4 times, you got to pay an extra 8 mana.
My guy died 4 times. I wouldn't be able to afford him anymore. So I just kind of wanted some pretty cards, and also couldn't quite decide what type of deck I wanted to play. So I bought 3 legendary creatures, and I'll show you the 2 first that I'm not using.
Okay.
Bought a fairy. It's Ravinia Soul.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Classic.
And yeah, she's nice. I bought Imara Tandris, who's an elf. And she's good for if you have a lot of tokens, prevent all damage that would be dealt to creature tokens you control. And
her starting casting cost is so high. It's like 7 or something, right?
It's 7. And yeah. The guy that I ended up getting, that I kind of built the deck around, is Treva the Renewer. He's a dragon, so he's definitely in the
Yeah.
spirit of things.
Pretty
He's
great.
very expensive, though. So
Yeah, but you get a lot of value out of that, though. You get a 6/6 flying, which is pretty powerful.
yeah, the 6/6 flying is attractive, and then I kind of tried to go for supporting my general play style because I'm not a very experienced player. I like to beef up my life a lot until I can sweep in with stuff and kill people. So with Treva the Renewer, anytime he deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 colorless mana, 1 white. If you do choose a color, then you gain 1 life for each permanent of that color. So he is good for beefing land.
Yeah.
No,
So-
not land. Life.
Like, yeah.
One of those L words.
Rubina's Soul Singer, that's you can gain control of a creature, right, with her?
Yes. Gain control of target creature for as long as you control Rubinia, and Rubinia remains capped.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, too. That's from like a really old set, too, that they reprinted.
Yeah.
So that's from a Commander set. That like symbol that's a shield or whatever, that's from like Commander, one of the Commander sets. I think last year's Commander set.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was part of one of the pre-constructed Commander decks that Wizards
Yeah.
put out. So what kind of stuff did you put into the Dragon deck?
I have a lot of flying, obviously, to go with him. And did I have a theme to my spells and stuff? I have a lot of life buffs. And then with the green in there, I have a lot of creature buffs and some cheap creatures so that I can kill.
Yeah, she kind of went for, I think, cheap flying creatures and then life buffs and stuff for it.
Yeah.
It's you want to if you're gonna do it's good to have creatures that have evasive stuff like flying or unblockable, that kind of deal, because it's a guaranteed swing through. Especially if you can get a lot of little guys out fast.
Yeah.
Just kind of smash.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that's like Llanowar Elves, like little guys that make mana for you? Because that'll help to get out your commander faster, since you have green.
Yeah. That's
Green
a
has
big
tons
thing.
of little dudes that make mana.
I mean, mostly we just went through the cards that we already have that we've been collecting like since the 90s, and we're like, these go together. So
There's some good stuff, though. I mean,
yeah. And then I also have some very new cards. I think they're from 2014. Well, that one says 2013, but a lot of like white green. That guy's really expensive. White green blend cards.
Trostani's Summoner. I think they're from the crap. What do they call it? The guilds.
Yeah, the Ravnica guilds.
So, like,
Yeah.
there's one. Centaurs mostly.
I
Yeah.
love that guy.
This one is expensive.
You get a bunch of tokens, right?
Yeah, you get a white knight creature, a 3/3 green centaur, a 4/4 green rhino with trample.
So that works good with your. You can get 2 green creatures,
Mhm.
and that dude's green already too. So that's like what we like to call value town,
Yeah.
especially with
Really
your commander. Especially with your commander too. So you'll have what 3 creatures that you can use for his life gain ability out of 1 card. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh, telephone.
That's a small
And then I have a couple. I do have a couple mana buffs, buffing creatures. That guy.
Oh yeah, I love that guy.
Little guys that do stuff like that.
Yeah, that little guy can get huge if you have a lot of bigger creatures that you're gonna put out.
Yeah.
Tons of mana.
Is there anything else of interest in this deck?
I think those are some of the highlights.
Yeah.
It's got a fair bit of the cheaper griffins and that sort of thing for some flying whites.
Yep. And then obviously the green buffs to make them big flying whites. That kind of
Do you
thing.
have other spells that are buff spells? Like life gaining spells or
I have quite a few, and none of them are sticking in my brain.
We've managed not to wind up with very much lifelink spells, which is something we
Yeah.
should probably buy some of, but
Yeah.
we've just never.
We need to think a little bit about our decks and order some more specific spells than just what we have. Like, have this guy,
Plummet.
Plummet.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You can clear out other flyers so they don't block yours.
Yep.
Green has a ton of kill flying spells.
Yeah.
White has some good kill spells. They're mostly exile.
Yeah.
So,
I have a few guys with this evolve that's kind of cool, where they get stronger with other creatures that are stronger enter the board. So.
that's a neat ability.
Yeah.
How many land do you have in there?
40 some.
Yeah, I think it was.
Lot.
I think it was 42. I told her to go a little bit heavier on the land than kind of you or I did because she's got 3 colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you got some high casting cost stuff.
Yeah. Why don't you talk for a minute now, and I'll see if I have anything else interesting to say.
Okay. So I'm doing red-green with Xenagos, who I just want to call Dionysus, God of Rebels.
He's very Dionysian.
Sort of a badass Dionysus.
Yeah.
And what did I have that was fun? So I went with sort of cheap reds and then some pretty heavy greens.
You're going to need to put something in to help you deal with flying, since I have a ton of flying. Brian has a flying commander.
Yeah, I need to do something about that. I picked out a couple, there were some red-green tokens from the Ravenica set that allow you to do a bunch of lore actions, one of which is like new ball flyers and that sort of thing.
Red's got all the burn spells too, lightning bolts, all that junk. You can just hurl fire and lightning at folk and burn them out of the sky.
Yeah.
So with a lot of these, I think these are from the Ravenica. I don't know, it's 2013, so maybe it's not, but
Yeah.
the red greens, a lot of them actually have blood rush, so I'll have to use that mechanic because I haven't used it that much.
Those are from Gatecrash, which is one of the subsets of the last Ravnica thing.
Gotcha.
Those blood rush cards are awesome. Yeah, you can do it as a creature, but then you can also do it to push through, kill damage on a big creature. And double up with Xenagos's, plus
Double,
X thing. Yeah, so you drop a blood rush on a guy, then do the +X+X. You can, do double digit damage easy.
So let's see here. I was trying to find some of my more expensive ones.
Do you have-
Okay.
Do you have creatures with trample? Because that works really well with Xenagos' ability, since you're going to be buffing them up huge to be able to stomp over any defenders that your opponent has.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I've got a fair number of the greens with trample, and then 1 or 2 spells to give it to them. I'm just trying to actually find something. I also got a couple of the more expensive creatures that use reds can't be blocked except by X or more creatures. So like Ripscale, Predator. So he's 6, but he's
6/5, yeah.
6/5 and can only be blocked by 2 or more. So at least you can cost people some with it. And then, oh yeah, Nessian Game Warden.
That one's kind of cool.
So it's got good artwork.
It is cool.
So kind of a long explanation, but you can look through your library for however many forests you control, and then grab as many creature cards from that as you want.
That's pretty good.
So you still have to pick one, not just toss them out, but
You put them in your hand, the creatures?
yeah. Yep.
Green has a
Oh,
lot of good like creature searching spells, um, stuff that lets you dig through your library too.
Yeah.
I kind of like this one for showing that green isn't just about being pretty. It's the
Yeah.
undergrowth scavenger.
Was it?
+1/+1 for number of creature cards in all graveyards. So he can be fun to throw out.
There was a set called Innistrad from a few years ago that was it was horror themed, and so you had like zombie trees and all that kind of stuff in it. It was awesome. All the green cards were scary for green cards. Werewolves was a big deal for green in that one.
Yeah, we have a few werewolves that we've never really done much with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any of the flip ones?
No.
Cards.
No, I don't. We were just talking about those the other day because I wrote about them briefly in my blog.
Yeah, I don't mind the flip cards. It's the ones where they put two tiny cards on one side.
Oh, yeah.
Be stupid.
I don't like those at all either. It smushes the art.
Yeah.
And
like side to side.
I was trying to think. And there were the ones in I think it was the Time Spiral deck that had like one printed on the bottom and one printed on the top, and you're supposed to rotate them and stuff. And I could never figure out how the hell that mechanic was ever going to work.
Oh, yep. Yeah, if you did you flipped it over.
Yeah, like it wasn't you flipped it from one side to the other, but you rotated it.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that just confuse the hell out of everyone if you were playing against more than one person? Like you wouldn't know what the orientation was. It just
You're like sitting diagonal to each other.
Yeah. I don't know which one that's supposed to be.
Yeah, that was a little too cute.
I'm kind of in love with the dragon eggs.
Does that make a dragon?
Yeah, so it starts out as a defender, and then if you kill it as a defender, it becomes a flying dragon.
That's cool. Dragons are awesome. There's plenty of awesome dragons in Magic history.
Yes.
To choose from.
I still kind of want to make a wolf deck. There is this Lord of the Hunt or something like that card that was in Magic 2014 Duels of the Planeswalkers, and apparently after they released that game, and that guy is in some of the early campaign decks, the price of that card just shot up because everyone was like, "This guy's cool, we want him."
I want him. So, for Kristen, for your deck, there's spells that will allow you to like win the game based on your life total. They might want to look into some of them. Some of them they're for like the regular formats. So it's like if you have four, there's one. It's like a creature. It's like 6/4 with lifelink. If you have 40 life or 50 life, you win the game. So
Nice.
that's kind of cheesy for Commander, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of
like mean-spirited to just be like, "Boom, I win."
Wasn't there one for Chandra or one of the Planeswalkers where if you wind up with an exact total, like if you wind up with exactly 3 life or 1 life at the end of a turn and the enchantment is in effect, you win the game?
Yeah, probably.
That sounds
They've
familiar.
got a card for pretty much every scenario.
Yeah. So I think that for our decks, what we need to do are pick some more spells, because we're both very creature heavy, because we just didn't have that many spells to choose from. So
Yep, we'll pick some online.
cheap spells, yeah, we need to get some
Have you guys
specially chosen.
Have you guys used the Gatherer for research? You know what the Gatherer is?
That's the one from the Wizards of the Coast, right?
Yeah, their search engine where you can you can put in like actual like the rules text and stuff, so you can look up, gain life, whatever, and they'll bring out all the cards, and you can do it by color and
Yeah.
passing cost.
And they have the discussion on it where people are. Yeah, that's fun to use.
Yeah.
I would not have wanted to have to write that interface though. As a computer programmer, I look at that, I'm like, wow, that had to take a lot of work.
Exactly.
So
They just updated it too, just I don't know, a few months ago.
Mhm.
Looks nice. What else?
So we did kind of rough percentages, 30 to low 30s to high 30s, basically, of land spread around however what colors you need, and
You might want to look at your, just like go through your cards and see, do your land, just distribute land based on how many cards of a particular color you want. So
Yeah.
have it weighted, whatever that way.
Yeah.
it seems like some of the commander people, when it comes to the land, are very much in love with named land cards. The
Like dual land.
particular kinds.
Yeah. You can get a bunch of lands to make multiple colors for pretty cheap. Get yourselves command towers. Command towers, it's a common from one of the commander sets that Wizards put out. It lets you get a mana of any color from your commander's color identities, so you can tap it for basically any color.
That's cool.
Those are
Yeah.
awesome. There's a website called Mana Base Crafter. It allows you to put in your commander, and it'll pull up all the lands that you can use for that commander based on its color identity. That'll help you find lands. You can look, if you can research, you just Google like a commander name, and then EDH or something. You can look at other deck lists that people have put together with that commander to get ideas for stuff that you might want to put in that mesh well or could combo with the abilities of your commander.
Was that I think it's MTG Salvation? Is that the one that has a lot of the decks? I think.
Yeah, their forum is really, really deep, and they have tons. There's at least one topic about pretty much every commander you can think of varying length depending on how popular that commander is. But yeah, that's a good place to look. So yeah, go to those forums and just search for your commander's name, and you'll be able to find at least a thread or two. That get you some ideas of what to do.
Just to sort of round out the time here, what are some other Magic formats, kind of? Are there any that have achieved this level of popularity in the past and people aren't just playing anymore, or that you've heard of?
Of fan-made ones, I don't really know, to be honest. People play what's called Pauper, where you can only make your decks out of common cards, so like commons. People play that. There's a format called Cube, where you build basically your own set of cards, set of like 300 cards. You only have one of 300 to like 500. You only have one of each card, and then you make booster packs out of those cards. You basically make stacks of 15 cards out of those, and you draft them like you would draft booster packs, and then build a deck out of those cards, and then play with them. And use one of the guys that we play with when we do our drafting has a cube, and it's awesome because it's basically all the cards from the whole history of Magic, and you draft them like you would draft the packs of the new set that just came out, and build a deck from those. That's pretty fun.
Should we confess that we don't know really what you mean when you say draft?
Okay, so
Because Brandon Sanderson does it with his fan.
Oh, I don't know.
I only know anything about it because Brandon Sanderson plays Magic at conventions with his fans, and they do a draft. So.
He was at Kineticon when we were there, and I missed the opportunity to play Magic with him. It was like the night before we went. So
that's sad.
It's tragic.
Yeah.
So drafting is, they sell the booster packs. It's 15 cards. What you do is you buy, you want to do this with a group of at least like 3 or 4 people. Everybody gets 3 booster packs from whatever set you want to draft from. So like the Ravnica ones, you could get 3 Return to Ravnica, you could get 2 Return to Ravnica, and then 1 Gatecrash, which was one of the subsidiary sets to that major set. What you do is you'll open up the pack, go through it, pick 1 card out, and pass it to the person to the right. The person to your left does the same thing. You pass the packs around, and every time a pack comes to you, you take 1 card out. You draft 1 card from the pack, pass them around until they're gone. Open the second pack, go the other way. And then do the third pack and go the other way. And so all the cards you drafted from those packs, you take those and you build a deck out of it. and then when we do it, we do a like a round robin style tournament where you play 3 people in a best 2 out of 3 game, and then you get points for each win you have. And then the winner, we do like a top 3. Somebody will buy like a box of cards, and the top 3 will get prizes out of the box. So that's what drafting is. Basically just opening up packs, taking a card out, and then passing it around to all the other people that you're playing with, and then building a deck out of the cards that you got. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when stores talk about pre-release events and stuff, that's what it is. You'll go to the store the weekend before the set actually comes out and do a draft, and you'll play people at the store. That's what we did one time that took like 6 hours. And bigger stores, you can get a lot of people in there.
It seems like fun, but it requires interacting with strangers. People scare me.
And poor Kristen, when we went to the local store. Have you heard the story already?
No, I didn't tell anyone the story.
Yeah.
Poor Kristen, when we went to the local store, we were gonna kind of go through their for sale cards and stuff and see if we could find a copy of the one that she wanted, God of the Hunt or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And while we were sitting there, a guy came up to her and said, "Oh, I'm kind of clearing out my deck here. Here's my big list. She has a big binder full. Just look through and take whatever you want."
He was like, "Don't buy them. I'll just give them to you." And I was like, I would rather buy them. I don't know you.
Pretty odd.
Yeah.
So you took all of his cards, right?
Yeah. He got kind of attached, and I left.
Without taking any of his cards.
Without taking any of his cards or buying any cards. So it was just a lose for everyone involved.
That's tough. I'm sure the store owner was not pleased that happened. That
Yeah.
potentially paying customer was run out by.
Well, you would think that they would care, but they've seen me get run out a couple of times, so they're just not very nice, sadly. I should try going to the other game store, but I don't know if they do Magic at that one.
It was funny the one time I was in there browsing around and you came in, and I think they were having a Warhammer 40K convention. Everyone just turned around.
Stop and turn.
Yeah, record scratch.
Yeah.
Are you lost? Did you come in the wrong store? The Gap is across town.
That's sad because, well, when I went to the pre-release thing at one of our local shops, there was actually like 3 or 4 women there that played, and it wasn't like a weird thing, which is pretty cool. And I got beat by one of them. They were just part of the crowd that was there, so that was nice.
I think it must depend from store to store, and this one is just not very women friendly because I was totally intimidated to go into the comic book store, and they're like super nice to me, and at the game store they are not super nice to me.
Yeah, I think it all depends. It probably does start from the management too, the kind of vibe they put out. The comic store that I go to is really nice. There's women that are there all the time.
Yeah.
A couple that work there, so they're very fun. Everybody, which is good.
I went in expecting to feel more comfortable at the game store because I'm more of a game person than a comic person, and the comic book people made me feel much more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's a bummer, but it happens, and I'm sure that if I went to the other game store, which is further away, they'd be nicer.
Yeah, we went in there one time. They seemed nice enough.
Yeah, they were really nice. So.
I think it really depends on the atmosphere of the store. Hopefully the other one's nice. Or otherwise you can just buy your cards online.
Yes, that was pleasant too. So.
By and large, you can find it for cheaper online than you can ding it. So.
Yeah, all of my cards, my legendary creatures were cheaper online than like most of the cards in store, and I even got a foil, which they charge you at the nose for in the store. So.
Yeah, I almost never buy cards. I'll buy packs for drafting and stuff at the store, but I almost never buy single cards at the store because they'll charge you like, I think most of them charge the median price on TCG Player.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go in there and you shop around, you can get for way less than what the price is, and then the shipping usually is.
We had free shipping, and the cards were all in much better condition than the stuff in the store. So.
Yeah, right, because they're getting trade. I mean, the online stores get trade-ins too, but you don't know who's handing stuff in at the store. Yeah, I think online is usually the way to go to buy single cards if you're looking for a deal. eBay is good too. Sometimes you can get rare cards for cheaper than you can even on the online stores there. That has some perils too. Foils on eBay is a good way to get foils if you're looking for those.
Yeah.
You get those cheaper on there than anywhere else.
Would you mind sending us some of the various links that you mentioned that would be helpful for researching and specializing our decks?
Let me do it right now so I don't forget.
Okay.
I'll put it into the chat.
Cool.
What did I say I was going to get?
I don't know. There was one in mana base and...
Oh, yeah, Mana Base Crafter.
Yeah. There is at least another one that I was like, oh, I don't know that one.
I think it was showing cards that were related to your commander. Or was that Mana-Based Crafter? Maybe
that was the MTG Salvation forums.
Okay.
And then the Gatherer. You guys know about the game? You guys already know about the Gatherer. What else? I think that was it, probably, right?
I think so.
Well, if you think of it, you can email it to us, and if anyone says anything in the comments, we can put it up in the comments.
I predict no comments.
Silence.
Hey, it was beneficial to us, and that's what counts.
True.
Yeah.
We need to try playing Commander, because I think it's going to be confusing.
Play Commando? What?
We can play Commando.
I'm just going to keep saying that joke.
Yeah.
Practice, of course, makes perfect.
Yes.
As it is with all things.
Well, I also just need to try out my deck, and if I find that I can't afford anything that I have, or that I die before I get to play any of my cool cards, then that will be a valuable lesson to me.
But if you do that, yeah.
We'll profit by it.
Yes.
Since you have that life gain sub theme, you should be able to stay alive for long enough to get out of Commander and hopefully smash some face.
Well, shall we call it?
I think that was
That's it.
everything we had to say. All right, well, I will kill the broadcast, so thank you, kind viewers who aren't there. But
you might watch later and you'll love this.
entertaining and educational, so bye.